How does Miller's captaincy affect Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks? Well, it doesn't, unless you're both insecure and realistic, because how could it not? We've said it before, Elias has more pressure on him than any other athlete I know in North America, and like it or not, he'll be tied to JT's success or lack thereof. On that note, I hope JT Miller sucks, okay? Because this could get Messier. I mean, really, really messy. Anyways, that's life. This is Locked On Canucks.
The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's never a dull moment in Vancouver, and that's why you have us here on Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks reporter for Daily Hive Vancouver. And Kyle, that wasn't the news I was expecting this morning. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't even on my radar. And, you know, this isn't Locked On Rangers. This is Locked On Canucks. But when I woke up to the news that JT Miller was named captain of the New York Rangers, what's going through my head is, man, oh man, does this crank up the pressure on Elias Pettersson even more than before, if that was even possible?
It sort of does, right? I think it cranks up the pressure on the NHL to make sure they nationally broadcast the game on October 28th between the Canucks and the Rangers. No, real talk. Can we start there before talking about the pressure and whatnot? Like, this is a good thing for hockey. Yeah, a lot of people on this side of the world, you know, you're annoyed. You're blaming people like Trevor, right? Big J Journos for the continuation of this topic, right? Pettersson versus Miller. But man, oh man, like I said, this is what we need. Pay-per-view television, player versus player. And yeah, to answer your question, Trevor, of course it does, because JT Miller plays in the biggest market in sport, right? And now he's captain of an original 6 team. And oh yeah, JT Miller was above a point per game player when he was a New York Ranger at the end of last season. So you best believe he's probably going to be, a top 15 scorer again? And oh yeah, he's probably going to play with his best winger that he's ever played with in Artemi Panarin. So yeah, the points will be there. His stock will rise. His cachet will rise. And, you know, like it or not, you know, you could say what you want about his personality. Like on the ice, based on his physicality and the amount of points he's going to get, dude, Pettersson's going to be feeling the heat. These two are tied to the hip. Like, their narratives are forever connected. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Henrik and Daniel, it's JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. But man, oh man, like, you're not going to be able to go anywhere in their careers without comparing both their careers.
Yeah, and Kyle, I think that what a nice positive spin for you to put on it. Like, the NHL does need more rivalries like this. I mean, hate is good for the sport. I say it to all my casual hockey fan friends who were cheering for the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Is like, why the hell are you cheering for the Oilers just because you want a Canadian team to win? Like, if you're truly a Canucks fan, go hate your rivals, go hate your divisional rivals. And again, I think, you know, a little player versus player rivalry is good for the sport. Is it good for Elias Pettersson? I'm not so sure, but it's good for the sport. I mean,
come on, Trevor, it is. It is good for him. Okay, let's keep putting the pressure on him. Boom, bam. Let's have him play with more anger, right? Now, let's say in theory, because you said it a couple episodes ago, you said, "Yo, the anger is probably good for this guy. Like, let him use it as his fuel. Let it take his game to the next level." And B, let's say JT Miller actually was a piece of shit and did some dark stuff. You know, there's so many rumors out there. Who knows what happened? I'm not going to believe in the rumors because, again, there's so many different stories. But let's say, because he knows, right? Elias knows, and that team knows, you know, something went down. We don't know what it is, but something went down. And let's say it actually went down. He's probably thinking what the hell? This guy got named captain. He's one of the worst guys in the league, the worst personalities in the league. It could piss him off even more. Right? I don't know. This could be. I'm not going to say exactly what he needed, but it could add more fuel to his fire.
Well, I hope it does, right? Because I think the perception when JT Miller left the Vancouver Canucks was this guy's not a good locker room guy, right? He's being way too hard on a guy like Elias Pettersson, and of course, there's Team Pettersson and Team Miller in Vancouver. There still is, but the perception was that maybe he's not a good locker room guy, and certainly not a good leader. if he's butting heads with the superstar on your hockey team. But of course, a lot of that falls on Elias Pettersson too, right? Like, he didn't come into camp prepared. He took some heat. He wasn't able to handle it. And of course, this has been going on for years past that. So it is a long, complicated story. But just looking at the Rangers in particular, like, this fits their MO of what they've done in terms of naming captains, right? You look at their last three captains. You have Jacob Trouba, just a physical, good old American boy. Before that, it was Ryan McDonough, who ironically was traded away from the New York Rangers in the trade that included JT Miller. So it fits the Rangers' MO. And I actually do like this question from Dan Jardine here. Maybe putting a Canuck bias on it. Are the Rangers making a mistake? Because right now, I think, you look at the trade and the Canucks gave it the best player, and, Elias Pettersson struggled for a bit and then was fine and then got injured. So we just don't really know what he is without JT Miller. But Rangers fans are still a little iffy on this deal in general, because the Rangers are an old aging team and they're kind of relying on JT Miller to drag them to relevance or Stanley Cup contention, because their roster is largely the same as last season too.
Yeah, it's a polarizing move for them too. And I mean, how many teams, trade for their captain? Like I don't know. How long was this trade? How long did this
not
trade
even
take
9
place?
months ago.
9 months ago. Like, you barely see this sort of thing. But I mean, it's quite obvious that Chris Drury really, really wanted him. And I don't know, like, say what you want about Miller, say what you want about his culture driving or what environment that he sets, but at the end of the day, he is something different, And I'm not going to go call him Matthew Tkachuk, but he is the type of guy that drags people into the fight if, he's willing to compete, because, there's a big if there as well. When he's not happy, he just doesn't want to back check. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't set the tone. Like, he's a pretty horrible player when he's not locked in. But a part of me does believe, and again, people call me the biggest JT fan in the world. I listened to a lot of Justin Timberlake growing up. Sexy Back, Cry Me a River. Come on, man. Come on. Classics. Right? Who's better? Justin Timberlake or Fleetwood Mac? Exactly. Easy answer.
Come on. Oh, Kyle. Yeah, I can mute you right now. Oh, unbelievable. What kind of a take is that, man? That's crazy.
Trevor, man. Anyways, I'm a big JT Miller fan, and I can guarantee that this guy's going to get back to being like a 90 to 100 point guy. There's a good chance that he's the player from 2 years ago, because that was only 2 years ago where he was actually back checking like an elite player. And, him given the C now, I mean, like, this guy's a hockey nerd, I feel like he's going to do a lot with that. And to put the Canuck spin on it, it's a good thing. Let's say the rivalry is real between Pettersson and Miller. And if I'm Pettersson and I see Miller ripping it up, I'm going to want to rip it up too, right? No? Like, this is a good thing. It's good for the game, and it's good for the Vancouver Canucks, because I think, like it or not, and there should be 11.6 million reasons why Pettersson should be motivated. Of course, we all know that. But man, oh man, this could be another, motivating thing for him to, I don't know, help guide his NHL career, because man, oh man, again, he doesn't like the noise. Well, dude, you're gonna be compared to one of the best offensive players in hockey for the foreseeable future, like it or not. It's just the truth. This is a soap opera. Like, this is like, have you ever experienced this while watching like hockey? Like, this is kind of new, right? For you and I, at least.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of NHL players who have hated each other that I can think of. I know there's some stories floating out there. The more recent one, I think it was like Brendan Gallagher and PK Subban apparently were fans of each other, and Gallagher kind of like Miller not liking maybe the personality of Subban, although Subban and Pettersson definitely two different personalities. Look, I think if there's like a sliver of hope for Canucks fans of all this, it's the fact that Pettersson is smack dab in the middle of his prime, theoretically, right? And I think that's what makes the drop off over the last year plus so mysterious. But I mean, JT Miller is a guy who is going to be 33 later this season. Of course, playing like an elite player, playing much better than most other 32, 33-year-olds in the NHL. But Pettersson is a guy who theoretically should still have room to grow in his game, right? Whereas JT Miller, I don't necessarily see him getting better, but he might just stay where he is, which is still a pretty damn good hockey player. But look, there's a ton of pressure on both these players and both of these teams, right? The Rangers and the Canucks, they're both in win now mode. They're both on the outside looking in, and they're being led by two guys who hated each other. Like, it is fascinating theater, and I'm really curious to see which team is more successful this season.
But there's more pressure on Pettersson. Way more pressure on Pettersson. You know, he gets paid $3 million more, and like the whole city's gonna hate Elias Pettersson if he can't help keep Quinn Hughes. That's just the truth. Because if Pettersson is better than JT Miller, which he should be, right? That's kind of like the consensus based on his age, based on peak potential, right? I guess people like Don Taylor are like, oh, JT Miller's a way better player or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think we do believe Elias Pettersson, most of us, and it has a lot to do with this comment right here by Cethos, right? Like the last 3 seasons with the Canucks, I would even argue the last 6 seasons with the Canucks, Miller was the number 1 culprit of giving up, right? Based on his frustrations, he would stop playing defense, he would start blaming others. Like he was one of those guys. So realistically, with that knowledge, we would again think that Pettersson's the more complete player, even when he's having a bad day. It's not like he sucks ass and is like destroying plays and like he's got like his floor is a lot better than JT Miller. What I'm trying to say is this: if Pettersson reaches his potential again, then Quinn Hughes can believe that the Canucks made the right decision. It's that simple. And we only have 1 season to see that. So all the pressure's on Elias Pettersson. It really is. Now, of course, Miller has it in New York. Big Apple, boom, bam, the captain, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, the Rangers don't have a generational player on their team like Quinn Hughes, who's like waiting to see how good his team is. And if Pettersson, again, can prove that he's way better and he was the right player to hold on to, even though, management did try trading into Carolina a couple times, Quinn Hughes could then believe in the organization and them making moves once again. Because right now it's up in the air. Like, this is the captain versus the enigma. When we titled the episode, it's like, yeah, Miller versus Pettersson, but it's also like Hughes versus Pettersson to some extent too. Like Pettersson has the world on his shoulders. And, people are like probably hearing that and they're like, yo, Kyle, slow down. That's harsh. Like, how does that make Pettersson's situation even better? Like, you should shut up, watch your mouth, just let it be. No, like, dude, it is what it is. And at the same time, with me putting all this pressure on him, we've seen it in sports. The best of the best can pull through, live up to it. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, this is like a very, very fascinating time to be a Canucks fan. I know it's scary and it's traumatizing. Trevor had to deal with my shit this morning, but man, oh man, like if Pettersson can prevail, this is a damn cool story.
100%. And I've said it before, I do believe Pettersson is going to prevail. Let us know in the comments if you feel the same way. Is Pettersson going to, conquer the pressure, meet that pressure with pressure, or whatever Rick Talk used to say, and have a hell of a season here for your Vancouver Canucks? They kind of need him to, if this team is going to keep Quinn Hughes and stay in contention. Okay, on the other side, I do want to get to some breaking news here on Locked On Canucks and talk a bit about Adam Foote as well. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. All right, before we get to the program, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel, baby. NFL season is here. NHL season is about to be here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for all the action with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Man, oh man, I said it yesterday, but the Vancouver Canucks on FanDuel plus 105 to make the playoffs. I'm believing that this is at least a playoff caliber team. So I'm smashing that plus 105 button and looking to, maybe a little more than double my money with those odds on FanDuel. So if you're ready to play again right now, new customers can bet just $5 and you'll get $300 if your bonus bet wins. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet today.
Boom, bam. People, we back doing this, and that is talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Wait, are we talking about the Canucks, or are we just talking about the Rangers, Miller, Pettersson, the soap opera? Man, oh man, it's just part of the story, man. We didn't choose this life chose us. There's some people out there, Trevor, and don't get me wrong, if part of me doesn't want to say this, because if you're explaining, you're losing. Some philosophers say that. But man, oh man, some people out there are like, yo, I don't want to hear about this drama anymore. Miller don't even play on our team anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Why do people continue to want to talk about it? Dude, the Canucks suck. That's why we're talking about it. No, I'm serious. If we were actually contenders and had games to talk about and strategy to talk about, we would literally be talking about how our forward group matches up against, the Oilers decor or the Vegas Golden Knights decor. Like we'd be talking more about can we compete against Vegas? But what's the word I'm looking for? Perpetuity. We're living in that.
Perpetuity.
We're living in perpetuity right now, Trevor.
Wow, that's a big word there, buddy. I'm proud of you. And I'm also proud of a Canucks. I remember the Canucks organization who just got an extension. This news just coming in. I can't cover for Daily Hive because I'm here for the people on Locked On Canucks. About Manny Malhotra, the club just announced that he has been extended. The club picks up his option. So he's been extended as head coach of the Abbotsford Canucks through the 2026-27 season. And of course, that shouldn't be a huge surprise. Of course, Manny Malhotra was just working miracles down there in Abbotsford last year, propelling a relatively young team into the Calder Cup in a league where usually the veteran AHL teams win. But Kyle, I started thinking about this today as I was writing about Canucks facing the most pressure this season, and Adam Foote pops up on the list. This Canucks organization has seen head coaches get fired in short order. Of course, you go back to like Bill LaForge in the 80s. That's the prime example. The guy won like 4 of 22 games and got canned after 22 games. But even guys like John Tortorella, Bruce Boudreau had very short tenures in Vancouver. Now you're looking at Adam Foote and saying, if the Canucks don't have a good season, Manny could be in line for an NHL head coaching job with the Canucks sooner rather than later. Wow. I mean, where are you at right now on Adam Foote and the Canucks heading into this season? I mean, I said I believe they're a playoff team, so I'm not predicting that this is going to happen. But man, oh man, I can't think of a Canucks coach who maybe had more pressure than than Adam, I should say. You could talk about Boudreau entering that 22-23 season, but he was coming off of a high house of Green and Benning. It was a bit different from when Boudreau got hired, but there was a lot of pressure on Adam Foote before the guys even coach an NHL game.
Yeah, it goes back to keeping Quinn Hughes, right? I mean, most teams want to win the Stanley Cup, and we just want to keep Quinn Hughes. It's just, again, it's generational stuff. It's comparable to what the Oilers are dealing with when it comes to McDavid and his contract situation, and we're talking about a situation surrounding a team that made the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, of course, there's a lot of pressure on Adam Foote, and I don't even think it was a joke when we brought this up a couple months ago, I think, when Manny Malhotra didn't get hired by the Dallas Stars. We said to each other, we told the people, and Trevor, again, you're going to be in the same building as Adam Foote, so I definitely hope he's not watching this right now, okay? I don't want to see you missing in Penticton over there, okay? And having to track those footsteps, okay? But we said if Adam Foote gets off to like a 4-9-2 start, Manny Malhotra will be the new coach of the Vancouver Canucks. And I wonder if they told him that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a path for him, right? I was looking it up kind of, as I was writing today. I mean, the average head coaching tenure in the NHL is 2.3 to 2.5 years, which is pretty crazy to believe that, most head coaches in the NHL, don't make it through 3 full seasons, right? In the NBA and the NFL and the MLB, it's more like 4 to 5 seasons before a guy gets canned. So the averages are a lot longer. But yeah, there's just a ton of pressure on Adam Foote this season, right? And I'm just not quite sure what to expect from Adam Foote. I mean, look, he did a great job with the defense. That's the backbone of this team. So I'm believing from that aspect. But I do think coaching the defense and the PK is a little different from being the head coach and, running lines 1 through 4. So I just, to me, one of the biggest questions of the Canucks season is, what is Adam Foote as a head coach? And I don't even want to make the prediction about if Manny Malhotra will be the next head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. I think if Quinn Hughes leaves and Manny Malhotra still with the team, then I think he's almost automatically the next head coach of the Vancouver Canucks because they're in rebuilding mode. He seems like a good guy to rebuild with, grow with the team. But for now, with Adam Foote, it's just one of the biggest mysteries of the Canucks so far. And another reason why I'm stoked to be at training camp this year for Daily Hive and Locked On Canucks, just to see how Adam Foote's running things, right? I've got so many different head coaches running training camps over the past few seasons. For the guys who've been there a long time, I'm sure that could be a bit confusing, but they also know what works and what doesn't based on who's been there in the past.
Yeah. And you know what makes Adam Foote's job way more harder? It's the fact that even coaching a team where there is a player getting paid $11.6 million, there's this consensus that, and yeah, every coach does have to quote unquote be a leader, but man, oh man, there's like this consensus that like Adam Foote really has to go in there and set the tone and guide the troops and, do what he did for Colorado as a player way back when. Like there's a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of work to be done within a locker room that was definitely broken. And yeah, winning fixes everything. Like I'm pretty sure that this team can get off to like a 6-0-1 start, and last year can be forgotten about. But man, oh man, during training camp, like setting the tone is so important. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trevor, and I hope I hope on Thursday you can rest this theory or put this theory to rest, because I don't want to believe it, but I feel as if there's a better chance that Adam Foote sets the tone than Elias Pettersson. Like, I want the players to lead, and I want, guys like Archie Banks, Max Hassan, Elias Pettersson, Tom Melander, um, just like even like guys like Jake DeBrusk, who's still relatively new to the Canucks. Like, I'd want them to go into that room seeing Elias Pettersson being the hardest worker there, being the last one off the ice. I know we hate to hear this, but because it was kind of like an unreasonable comparison. But be more like Sidney Crosby. Be that dog. But I feel pessimistic. I don't know if he can be that guy. And I know there's going to be some people out there saying, "Oh, he's not a leader. He doesn't have to be a leader. He just has to. He's getting paid almost $12 million. He's got to be a leader." And again, do we have to wait till November for him to be confident to find that leadership? Because we're missing some of that leadership courtesy of Miller's absence or whatever. I'm talking a lot here, but again, the Adam Foote has to do a lot here, a lot of work. And going back to Manny Malhotra, for some reason in July, or I guess in June, when Tocchet quit the team, a lot of us felt like, based on the situation in that room, that Manny Malhotra would have a better time rallying the troops than Adam Foote. Which, again, that could be just us being from the outside, because based on what we've heard from Quinn, Demko, Filipino, and Brock Besser, like, they all love Adam Foote. But rallying the troops is something that a lot of head coaches have to do, but especially in Vancouver, man. Especially in Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, just based on your comment about, maybe Foote having more of a tone-setting presence at training camp than Pettersson. I think in today's NHL especially, it comes from the players first, and it comes from the leaders first. Coaches, for the most part, we're past the hard-ass days. They're almost coaching individuals more than they're coaching a team. A guy like Elias Pettersson has to be a leader, has to be a tone setter at camp. To me, that's more important than anything Adam Foote can say or do. All right, let's wrap up here on Locked On Canucks. On the other side, I want to talk a bit about Patrick Allvin. Does this guy have any tricks up his sleeve before the season starts? We'll get into that in some of your comments coming up here on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to the program, let's shout out our friends over at Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy, baby. You just got to use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites, because Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. And I've told this story before. Every day is no here on Locked On Canucks. When Kyle Bowen left me, I had to scour Indeed to find Deepak Roberts III, a fine fill, and I do miss that guy sometimes. And I found him because of Indeed, all right? So now you can also speed up your hiring process on Indeed with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. We're going to get to your comments very, very soon here on a pretty, again, for weak people like me, for insecure but realistic people like me, this was a bit of a traumatizing day. I'm still thinking about Pettersson and Miller. I'm still, I got a pimple on my forehead. I'm 32 and a half years old. That's what happens when you follow this team. It's been one of those days. That being said, like I said, I did call Trevor in the morning. He finally, became a good friend again. Let me vent to him. And man, oh man, Trevor, I do want to ask you how you're doing, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to ask you this: like, do you ever worry about me?
I do worry about you sometimes, man. I really do. I'm happy to see that you're wearing the world's best uncle hat.
Yeah.
My kids, when they hear Locked On Canucks in the car, which is a nice moment for me, they do want to listen to the podcast, and they're like, when they hear your voice, they're like, "Oh, it's Uncle Kyle." So you love to mark up my kids, man. Deserving of that world's best uncle hat. But yeah, man, take care of yourself. I hope you take care of yourself. I hope Elias Pettersson takes care of himself. I hope all Canuck fans take care of themselves because, man, oh man, this can be tumultuous covering this team. And I do wonder if we're going to see more tumultuous times here over the next couple of weeks, specifically in terms of the roster building. And Kyle, one of the main things I'm thinking of is Patrick Allvin. For the past number of off seasons, he's liked to make moves in September and October. Right, we had Eric Brandstrom last year, of course, Kevin Lankinen. The year before that was Casey DeSmith, Sam Lafferty. Like, this guy does like to wheel and deal in September and October. Based on how rough the last 12 months were, based on the fact that this guy likes making moves, is it almost a foregone conclusion that he's going to make some kind of move here at the start of the season?
Man, I actually haven't thought about that because I've gone to bed with Philip Hedl. I've gone to bed with Philip Hedl being our second line center. That's what I meant to say. I stumbled on that sentence, which, okay. What I'm trying to say is I'm content with this lineup, man. Let's just get it started. I think I've fallen in love with the D so much. I've fallen in love with the goaltending. I'm ready to be the New Jersey Devils. I'm ready to start the dead puck era. I'm ready to ruin hockey forever. I'm ready to win some games. The way we got to win games, and that's playing into your strengths, right? Like, so what if everyone's scoring goals? Let's just not score goals, but let's stop all the goals, It's all good. It's all good. So I haven't given that much thought. Are you hearing anything, though? Is there a media Big J Journal group chat going off? Like, you guys hearing something?
Not necessarily. My good friend Patrick Johnson over the province was reporting over the weekend that his sources are saying Patrick Allvin could be on the hot seat, right? Of course, the story came up from McDollywell last week about Ryan Johnson getting interest from other NHL teams. Like, the pressure is ratcheted up on Allvin, like it has never been before in this market, right? And now he's entering his fourth full season in charge of the Vancouver Canucks. We're approaching the 4-year date anniversary of when he was first hired. And I'm just thinking, like, looking at his past history, making moves in the fall, and considering the pressure on him heading into the season, I don't know if I think it's a foregone conclusion, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Canucks made a move prior to the season starting. And again, looking at this lineup, like you're saying, Kyle.
Can I play devil's advocate for just a bit? I know you probably have to go soon to write that Manny Malhotra article. I kind of want to read some comments too, so maybe I'll extend the show overtime for a bit, but because I do want to have this conversation with you, which might again keep us here via overtime. I saw that Patrick Johnson article talking about how Allvin could be on the hot seat, right? This whole 4-year thing. He's been here for 4 years after this one. Do the math. In 2025, you don't really last this long, blah, blah, blah. Okay, true, but also this team kept Jim Benning for 8 years. Did they not?
They did, but I do wonder if they have learned from that mistake. Like, even a guy like Francesco Aquilini probably admits, he has admitted that he kept Jim Benning for too long, and he probably doesn't want to make that mistake again. Now, Patrick Allvin, I think there's no argument. He's a level above Jim Benning in terms of the moves he's made, in terms of not overpaying guys, in terms of keeping a clean cap sheet. Like, this is a better management team.
I'm pretty sure Mother Knucker is a level above Jim Benning.
Yeah, exactly. It's a low bar, right? But yeah, it wouldn't shock me if the Canucks have another rough start if ownership starts looking at changes, whether it's the coach, whether it's the GM. So yeah, I think there's pressure on Allvin to make a move. Now, looking at this lineup, like Kyle, like you said, there's not really a clear move to make unless they can go out and get a second line center, which is something that they said they were going to do in April and still haven't done yet. So I think if it's a move, it's likely one of like more insignificance, similar to like an Eric Brandstrom or like a Sam Lafferty trade. And really the only spot in the lineup where I think they maybe could add would be upgrading on like in the bottom six wing, right? Like I'm like you, I'm pretty happy to see Linus Karlsson or RC Baines get their opportunity. Maybe it's Vitaly Kravtsov working his way into the lineup there, or Max Hassan. But that's probably the one spot where you're like, okay, none of these guys have consistently played in the NHL before. Does Alvin scour the trade market and find a guy like a Sam Lafferty who's maybe undervalued who could slot into this lineup?
Okay, sure. How do you want me to answer that, Trevor? You want me to go through every NHL roster and see who's like got a one-way contract, who's a 14 forward on our team? You're asking the wrong guy. You're the Big J Journal. Give us some names, Trevor. Is Tyler Mott going to make the Tampa Bay Lightning or whatever? Is he going to
The Florida Panthers?
Florida Panthers? Not bad. Is he going to convert on his PTO?
Of course, man. No, I definitely believe in Tater Tot Mott. No, I'm just honestly, I'm just brainstorming right now. I'm telling you like my thoughts about what he might do.
Yeah.
I can give you names tomorrow. How about that?
Okay, do it up. Because honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I see that happening, to be honest. I think winning an AHL championship and just kind of seeing how, like, I mean, I would have to do like deeper research, but just seeing how like a team like Florida's like maneuvered, like you kind of like have to promote from within and like give those fourth line spots to some competent players. And Carlton had some success in the AHL last year when he played. Same with Archie Baines at some points, you know, when he's instinctual, like he looks good. And Max Hassan, same thing with him, right? Like he looked like a guy that's better than Sam Lafferty at moments last year. So I doubt that. Anyways, let's get to some comments here on Locked On Canucks. I like this comment right here. Okay. NGK saying, I've seen Adam Foote drinking downtown way too many times for me to be comfortable, to be honest. He loves Monarca. And NGK, man, you don't got to work for TMZ. Like, if he's having one or two cocktails, it's all good, right? You know what I'm saying? And, bro, Monarca, Trevor, I know this is knowledge that you and I don't need to talk about because, you know, we're in happy relationships, right? Hit the like button. Happy wives, happy lives. But I got two homies that fell in love at Monarca, you know? They say is Monarca a Greek restaurant or Mexican?
You're asking the wrong guy, man. I'm a Surrey boy. Okay, I don't often
You're
frequent the
more
downtown spots. Maybe more this season as I'm covering this Canucks team more closely.
Yeah, Monarca, I think it's in Gastown. One love to Monarca. Again, I found a couple sisters there. That's I'm predicting that. I just met my sister-in-laws via Monarca. So give Adam Foote some grace, okay? Let him have his cocktails. Next comment. This one goes to Calder Kid PD. Again, we're trying to build our relationship with Calder Kid PD. I thought he was going to actually burn down our houses at some points last year based on all the shit we were talking about Pettersson, okay? Anyways, he's saying, which other GM has built an AHL championship and the back end of our team? We are a couple forwards away. He also thinks the Canucks are going to go 13-7 in their first 20 games. I mean, we can't have it all. I mean, we've been bragging about our decor for quite some time now, and it took us some time to, again, go to sleep with Marcus Pettersson and the JT Miller trade. All in all, though, like, what would you grade Alvin's 3-year tenure? Like, I'd still give him, because we were a mess, right? Like, we were a big time mess not that long ago. I'd still give him a B.
Yeah, I mean that's probably fair, right? And that's saying something considering the circumstances, right? Man, oh man, I got one more comment I think that I want to get to here. And this is let's add an optimistic quote. No, Kyle, I like it. Shout out to Greener, always bring the optimism in the comments. Shout out to all of our commenters and members of the Discord. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Link in the bio. Greener saying Foote played on one of the greatest offensive dynasties of all time. He may not have been an offense first player himself, but he damn well knows what elite offense looks like. I'm stoked for him to have his shot. And man, I need to channel more of my inner Greener and eliminate some of the, I don't want to call it pessimism, but some of the anxiety I have about Adam Foote coaching this hockey team.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And like when I read comments like that, I do think about, you know, the possibility of him having that championship pedigree that the Canucks have been missing and him having the language to, you know, rally the troops. But I was saying similar things about Quit Talking, you know? Who do Canucks fans hate more, JT Miller or Quit Talking? I was thinking about Quit Talking this morning too. I'm like, yo, this guy, dude. This guy's one of the biggest, okay, I want to say phonies, but bro, this guy pissed me off this morning. He didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I just
Canuck fans hate Quit Talking more than they hate JT Miller. I actually think a lot of Canuck fans still really adore JT Miller.
Yeah, quit talking is, come on, man. You know what, Trevor? Speaking of quit talking, speaking of Miller, I know we all got to go, but I want to run this segment because I got something to talk about. We got this new segment on almost every episode of Locked On Canucks where we don't talk about the Canucks. Okay, it's called What the Puck. We're going to talk about other teams, and let's run it now.
I thought this was a Canucks show.
I thought this was a Canucks show.
Ito, this WASA Canucks show.
Okay. Great segment, Trevor. I like the animation you made there. Trevor, I texted you about this last week. I was joking. I texted about this in the Discord too because I was hurt. But how could I not think about Mark Messier when JT Miller gets named captain of the New York Rangers? No, straight up. Like, I feel like we're not far away from a world. This is dark. Where Elias Pettersson still sucks. JT Miller finds his game again. The Rangers are good. He's in like the mecca of sport. This guy gets all this love and appreciation that we were giving him for years and years and years when everyone was falling asleep at 10 o'clock when the Canucks game started, right? And he gets all this appreciation, and it's like, holy, this could be like the reverse Messier, where like a number one center that we signed to a team-friendly deal picks a fight with Pettersson. They're not able to get their ish together. They ditch Quinn Hughes. They don't care about winning, but he goes over there to New York, and I don't know, they win. They have one of the best goalies in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. They had a guy who won a Norris Trophy, 3 years ago? Like,
yeah, Adam Fox. It was 3 or 4 years ago. It hasn't been that long. You went dark on me, man. You really did, and almost like the reverse Mark Messier here when. Of course, Messier came to the Canucks from the Rangers. Miller goes from the Canucks to the Rangers. Yeah, and I mean, the Eastern Conference, like, and especially that Metro division, like, of course, I think Carolina and New Jersey are the cream of the crop. But after that, I can see the Rangers easily being the third best team. I'm not super bullish on the Washington Capitals repeating their success next season. The Rangers, obviously they upgraded a coach. They upgraded their defense by bringing in Gavrikov. I still think they're a little bit top heavy, but they have one of the best net miners in the world in net as well. So like, there's a path to be relevant next season. I'm not going to go to the extent where like Miller's going to go on this crazy run with the Rangers and really make Canuck fans depressed. But they could be dangerous next season. I expect them, much like the Canucks, to be better than they were last year.
Pettersson versus Miller, man. This is we'll be looking at the side-by-sides all season long. Maybe we have to run a segment called Best Friends Forever. That's a good segment. That's a good name. Best Friends Forever, where we just, recap Canucks fans on who's having a better season, Miller or Pettersson, okay? Why not? We're having fun here. It's Locked On Canucks. We're not the media. We're just some emotional fans. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bound, hit the like button. One love to you and you and you and you. For joining us, share the show. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast side. It does really help us out a lot. We're trying to find some advertisers, and having a 4.2-star rating out of 5. I don't know. Advertisers think we're not talented. Okay, I'll say so. Just help us out. Okay, help us out. Do us all a favor, and I like to go to Calderkidpedia again. Sorry saying that I'm so positive because that's just the way he is, and he's seen a lot of bad Canucks teams, but he believes that this isn't one of them. And Trevor, let's just end it on that note, man. The Canucks, again, we're going to start the dead puck era. We're going to win the Stanley Cup the boring way, and we're way better without this JT Miller guy.
Let's go, man. JT who? You've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.